the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The National People's Party marked its 6th anniversary with a massive political rally in Mahmuda village, Kombo South on Saturday, attended by President Adama Barrow, who is also the party leader and Secretary General. The National Disaster Management Agency convened a high-level emergency meeting with 30 stakeholders to address the unfolding humanitarian crisis following the capsizing of a migrant boat in the North Bank region. On Monday, the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency held a media dialogue to promote transparency and accountability in the execution of public development projects in the Gambia. And in international news, the African Union, the European Union and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have called for restraint amid escalating tensions in Venezuela following the abduction of that country's president by the USA. And in sports news, the expanded World Cup has, for the first time, given Africa 9 places, which could be expanded to 10 if DR Congo successfully navigate the intercontinental playoff. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News. Now, the National People's Party marked its 6th anniversary with a massive political rally in Mahmuda village, Kombo South, on Saturday, attended by President Adama Barrow, who is also the party leader and Secretary General. The rally, organized by the party's Rapid Response Team under the leadership of Musa Suso, officially launched its 2026 re-election campaign. Aliou Cisse reports.
A spectacular display of fireworks lit up the skies over Mahmuda village as the National People's Party marked the events. The celebration attracted large crowds of supporters, senior government officials, traditional leaders and party executives. The Alcalo of Mahmuda, Hatab Seidi, and Falalo Toure, chief of Kombo South district, described the event as historic for the community of Mahmuda and Kombo South. They thanked President Barrow's government for the numerous infrastructure projects undertaken nationwide, particularly in Kombo South. However, on behalf of the community of Mahmuda and satellite communities, Alcalo Seidi appealed for construction of the road linking Jabang Highway to Mahmuda, the extension of electricity to the village, improved access to safe drinking water, and establishment of a voting polling station in Mahmuda ahead of the next election. Alfu Gano, Public Relations Officer of the NPP Rapid Response Team, organizers of the rally, said the turnout demonstrated the party's growing popularity and nationwide appeal.
So we want to send a message to Sel Gambia, we are coming for another 5 years.
Several speakers, including Maimuna Bande, NPP National Women's Mobilizer, called for unity among party supporters. Honorable Abdoulaye Cisse, Deputy Majority Leader and National Assembly Member for all Union Constituency, said the party will work to translate the turnout into votes.
We understand that 2026 election is not going to be an easy election, and for that being the case, NPP is prepared to go for whatever it takes to get the votes in 2026.
The Minister of Works, Ibrahim Asila, announced that the government will expand polling stations to avoid voter disenfranchisement and revealed that more road construction projects across the country will soon commence. Musa Drame, NPP National President, dismissed campaigns against President Barrow's tartan bid as distraction from the party's development agenda. Honorable Sidi S.K. Njai, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, who is also the Deputy Spokesperson of the National People's Party, insisted that the government remains committed to transparency and accountability and expressed optimism about a landslide victory in 2026.
The President has exercised maximum financial discipline and prudence, ranging from the National Treasury to the consolidated revenue to the accounts of government and to the expenditure. And when you look at government now, the unprecedented positioning of the country in terms of giving back to the Gambian people have never had for.
Addressing the rally, President Barrow said critics once doubted the sustainability of the NPP, but thanked God for its growth and expanding national support since 2019. He urged unity within the party encourage supporters to obtain NPP membership cards to benefit from future party initiatives, and announce plans for an NPP enterprise fund to empower members and strengthen the party. The president jokingly describes some of the political parties as briefcase parties, arguing that they lack the capacity to govern and are now relying on coalition to unseat him. He promised to address the electricity and road challenges and assured that government development will reach every region. On irregular migration, the president expressed deep concern, warning wealth is not worth sacrificing one's life. He called for a national sensitization campaign to combat it. He described the menace as detrimental to national development and the country's image, vowing legal action against smugglers and their accomplices. The rally ended with renewed calls for unity, development and sustained mobilization as the NPP officially began its march toward 2026 elections. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Now, the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA, convened a high-level emergency meeting with 30 stakeholders to address the unfolding humanitarian crisis following the capsizing of a migrant boat near the Jinak in the North Bank region. Mam Nabuka was there, and this is her report.
The incident occurred around midnight on December 31st, 2025, when a vessel carrying about 235 irregular migrants ran aground on a sandbank before capsizing. The Gambia Navy swiftly launched rescue operations, and NDMA-led coordination helped save over 100 people, with survivors receiving shelter in Tangi and medical care at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital supported by partners. Confirmed fatalities have exceeded 20, including 16 bodies recovered from Senegalese waters, while rescue and recovery efforts continue amid fears that many passengers remain missing. The meeting brought together key stakeholders to review recent developments surrounding the Jinak disaster, coordinate recovery efforts, and develop a decisive action plan aimed at preventing future maritime disasters. Amid challenges such as rough seas, shortages of body bags, limited mortuary space, and logistical constraints, Lieutenant Alhaji Williams of the Gambia Navy, Binta KJ Barrow of the Gambia Immigration Department, Dr. Musa Cham of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, and Abdullah Fay of the Gambia Red Cross Society briefed stakeholders on the situation.
We are having problems, with some of the medical facilities, because whenever, we discover bodies, we have to consult Red Cross, the RVTH, and right now, they are overstretched.
There is this belief that officers, security officers or uniformed personnel don't go to Jinak. And then you cannot effect any arrest in Jinak. Now what is there for us? And people are dying. And people are pointing back to us.
We had limited availability of emergency medication because this was unplanned and unprepared for. Some of the delays that we had were regards to consumables and food provisions, some of them that came in later as well. With the help of NDMA and the Red Cross, we want to thank them for that. We also have some language barriers. That's common. Give those people from all in the sub-region.
From Denton Bridge to the terminal now, our teams are on the ground with the Navy, the police, the fire service to recover more bodies. And we need more logistical support.
Stakeholders emphasized a long-term action plan to address the root causes of irregular migration through socio-economic measures while strengthening maritime surveillance and rescue operations. Sana Dahaba, Executive Director of NDMA, and Matar Sise, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, emphasized the need for a decisive approach to protect the youth.
The youths are the critical asset of any nation. If those ones constantly perish as a result of this backway syndrome, I think it's a real concern to all of us.
We know that these people do gather in communities and the logistics are facilitated, and then sometimes it's better for that information to be communicated to the authorities so that we can actually try and prevent this situation from happening.
As search and rescue operations continue along the coastline, the NDMA will keep stakeholders informed to ensure a coordinated response and efficient use of resources. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
On Monday, the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency held a media dialogue to promote transparency and accountability in the execution of public development projects in the Gambia. Yafa Gay attended the meeting and she now reports.
Following the approval of the 2026 national budget, the dialogue provided a strategic platform to brief journalists on past budget execution, highlighting key findings on implementation progress and sectoral exclusion rates. During the engagement, CBMT shared insights from its analysis of previous national budgets, highlighting trends, including what is identified as shortcomings in budget execution and funding allocations. Lamin Diba, Executive Director of CBMT, emphasized the urgent need for greater transparency in the management of public funds.
We are in crisis, and because of that, we must make sure that we scrutinize our development funding and ensure that there is transparency and there is accountability in respect of every single penny that enters our development or that is allocated to our development.
Yaya Sonko, Deputy Executive Director of CBMT, underscored the importance of engaging media professionals as key partners in promoting fiscal accountability.
National budget of every country is the most important thing because it's like the thing that everything else is connected to. The infrastructure, the health, the education. So we see the need that there is accurate reporting of those figures and then the public is aware of whatever is going on. And we as an economist, what we do is to find information and then to write at authentic sources and then to write very good reports about how this budget was presented and recorded. But the challenge has always been to how this information can reach out to the ordinary Gambian people. So this is where we needed the media because we believe that the media personnel are better storytellers.
The session included interactive discussions, enabling media personnel to ask questions, clarify budget processes, and explore how to use the findings to improve reporting on public financial management. Participant Yusuf Taylor of Askanwi Media praised the initiative, describing it as both timely and impactful.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as a journalist that is very interested in business, economy, and finance reporting, I have learned a lot with regards to the disparity between what is approved in the budget, especially when it comes to loans and grants.
The dialogue concluded with a shared commitment to strengthen media collaboration, enhance public understanding of budget processes, and ensure accountability, paving the way for more transparent and effective management of national resources. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafa Gay.
The report by Yafa Gay will take us for a commercial break. When we return, we have international and sports news stories for you. To stay tuned.
Cellal timmungal no fuɗɗori e miranji nyameteji ɗum ɗo waɗi damugal kippungal fi nyameteji e demal ka aduna andira FAO kamɓe e damugal kippungal fi cellal e ɓamtare jama yuɓɓodiri addi ko wiyete food based dietary guidelines fi wallitagol jama on no nyamete maɓɓe timmiri cellal maɓɓe tabita danda ɓe nyabbe liiji kala ka immorta nyamugol nyameteji immorɗi e dammi ha e aynanteji no tawa e ko ɓuri e moƴƴude fi cellal neɗɗo no tabitiri on booli nyamirɗo haysi tawi woni heɓi ko wiyete bonga fis woni caalo ma koyngal gotal gerto ha ko nandi e mum wakkilo heɓa gram 120 nyallal kala ɓeyta ɗum e nyamete mo nyamata hara ɗum ɗo koko immori e ko aynante ko wayni wa gertoɗe boofo ha mew ɗum ɗo koko ɓeydata cellal e nder neɗɗo nyamu nyameteji immorɗi dammiɗi ne'ata walla piiji aynanteji wawama tabitande cellal maka nder leydi sabuna hino tawa e ko yamirore immorde e food based dietary guidelines.
Uganda wuri dada The godfather of Afro Manding music, Jaliba Kuyate ay album Kutakutole Fintindi Holy Saturday, 10th of January 2026, Benjamin Hall, Paradise Suites Hotel, 9 p.m. VIP tickets $1,000, ordinary ticket $500. Father of the night, Suleiman Diouf Brusubi. Mother of the night, Musukeba Sane Trawale, Germany. Chief guest of honor, Momudu Turo Dabo. King of the night, Honorable Muhammad Kande Busumbala. Queen of the night, Nene Che Yasin Kebe. Auntie of the night, Binta Batabali Sabali Kombol Lamen. Owners of the night, Honorable Sidi SK Njai. Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda. Make Kamara Salaji. Brothers of the night, Lamin Cham NPP. Kemo Sise GFF. Sisters of the night, Abiba Belgium. Fatou Kamara Petrogas. Maimuna Balde NPP. Princess of the night, Dr. Seina Bumbai Jaffa. Lady of the night, Nene Freda Gomez.
Welcome back, and this is QTV Nightly News. Now to the rest of our stories. Coming up next is international news. Now, the African Union, AU, the European Union, EU, and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have all called for restraint amid escalating tensions in Venezuela following the abduction of that country's president by the USA, urging all parties to uphold international law, respect national sovereignty, and prioritize dialogue over confrontation following recent actions by the United States. Usman Jata has the details.
In a statement issued on the 4th of January, ECOWAS aligned itself with the African Union's position, urging restraint and inclusive dialogue among Venezuelans as the only viable path to resolving the country's political crisis. The diplomatic intervention follows confirmation by the United States that it carried out military strikes inside Venezuela in the early hours of January 3rd. Explosions were reported in the capital Caracas after months of military buildup and rising tensions. U.S. President Donald Trump said the operation was a large-scale strike targeting Venezuela's leadership.
So we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there.
The Venezuelan government, however, says the attacks hit both civilian and military sites across at least 4 states, describing the action as a violation of the United Nations Charter. The Cuban government issued a statement on Monday saying 32 of its citizens had been killed in the American assault while defending President Maduro. The African Union statement says it is following developments with grave concern, including reports of attacks on state institutions and the alleged abduction of President Nicolas Maduro. In its statement, the AU reaffirmed its commitment to international law, stressing respect for state sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the right to people's self-determination. The European Union has also called for calm and restraint by all actors, warning against further escalation and urging a peaceful resolution to the crisis. The EU says international law and the UN Charter must be upheld at all times, particularly by members of the United Nations Security Council, while reiterating its position that Nicolas Maduro lacks democratic legitimacy. The EU stressed that any transition must be Venezuelan-led and respectful of the country's sovereignty. Both the African Union and ECOWAS expressed solidarity with the Venezuelan people and warned that further escalation could threaten regional and international stability. They have urged all parties to act responsibly and prioritize peaceful solutions. Surprisingly, given the unprecedented nature of the USA's action, very few have issued statements of outright condemnation. One leader who has dared to do so is Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who has strongly condemned it and called the USA's action a violation of international law. In addition, Spain, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay have issued a joint statement rejecting the unilateral military operations in Venezuela. For the rest of the world, including almost all European and African countries, fear of upsetting the USA appears to have silenced them. Osman Jata, QTV News.
Also in international news, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has responded to U.S. military strikes on Venezuela on Saturday evening and its sending of forces to abduct Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. CGTN Sen Zuan has the latest from Beijing.
China has expressed grave concern on Sunday afternoon over the U.S. forcibly seizing President Maduro and his wife and taking them out of the country. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson released a statement saying that the U.S. action is a violation of international law, the basic norm of international relations, and the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. The statement calls on the U.S. to ensure the personal safety of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, release them at once, stop toppling the government of Venezuela, and resolve issues through dialogue and negotiation. China's remarks come against the backdrop of long-standing tensions between Washington and Caracas, including unilateral sanctions, political pressure, and repeated U.S. involvement in Venezuela-related affairs. Beijing has consistently maintained that disputes should be resolved through dialogue, and the international community should support the sovereign choice of Venezuelan people.
Well, I'm afraid this is all we have time for, but before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. The National People's Party marked its 6th anniversary with a massive political rally in Mamuda village, Kombo South, on Saturday, attended by President Barrow, who is also the party leader and Secretary General. The National Disaster Management Agency convened a high-level emergency meeting with 30 stakeholders to address the unfolding humanitarian crisis following the capsizing of a migrant boat in the North Bank region. And on Monday, the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency held a media dialogue to promote transparency and accountability in the execution of public development projects in the Gambia. In international news, the African Union, the European Union, and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have all called for restraint amid escalating tensions in Venezuela following the abduction of that country's president by the USA. This is all we have for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another News Bulletin. Thank you for watching.